Introduction: the silence that breaks HER. Imagine this. You wake up one morning and the world feels muted. Not because the birds stopped singing, not because the city noise faded, but because her voice, her texts, her constant presence is gone. And here's the strange part. It's not the absence of words that hurts the most. It's the weight of the silence she leaves behind. See? Most men panic when this moment comes. They scramble for explanations. They send long paragraphs at 2 a.m., hoping each sentence will stitch the bond back together. They make promises. They beg. They call. Again and again, praying for an answer that will ease the twisting in their gut. But here's the truth, that no. One tells you, and most men never learn until it's too late. Real strength isn't in chasing, it's in stepping back. It's in saying nothing yet. Well, because silence isn't emptiness. When you understand its power, it becomes a weapon. One sharper than any insult, stronger than any argument, and more devastating than any goodbye. This isn't just about heartbreak. It's about transformation. It's about how a man can rebuild himself without uttering a single word. The Stoics understood this. They knew that control over your tongue was control over your fate. And the deeper layer, the part tied to dark psychology, is this. When you stop feeding someone your energy, your validation, your attention, you stop playing their game when you disappear. You don't just leave a gap. You leave a void. A question that has no answer. A mistake that can't be undone. And that void, it haunts her more than your presence ever did. It becomes a mirror she can't look away from, forcing her to see the reality she tried to avoid. By the time she realizes what she lost, you've already stepped into something greater. You've stopped chasing and started conquering. So, in today's deep dive, we're uncovering exactly what happens when a man goes silent, the psychological shift, the power moves, and the hidden triggers that change everything. If you're tired of pouring your peace into people who never valued it, and you're ready to take your power back, then listen closely, because the silence you master today will echo in ways she'll never forget. 1. Silence is louder than words, and she knows it. When someone wounds you, betrays you, abandons you, your first instinct is to react, to fight for yourself, to call them out, demand an explanation. Make them feel what you feel. That's what most men do, and that's exactly why it never works. Because here's it's unfiltered truth. Words don't change someone who's already stopped listening. When you send that long message, when you call, just one more time, when you pour your pain into their voicemail, you're not repairing anything. You're feeding them something far more dangerous. Proof that they still have power over you. Your voice becomes background music to their ego. Your effort becomes evidence they can walk away, still keep you on a string. But silence. Silence is different. Silence is unsettling. It's the pause she didn't expect. It's the unanswered call that leaves her staring at her phone longer than she'd admit, because when there's no response, there's no control without your voice chasing her. She's left alone with her decisions. No reassurance, no emotional safety net, just her replaying the last words you didn't say, and the human mind. It's a cruel companion in moments like this. It will fill that quiet with doubts, fears, and what-ifs far harsher than anything you could have said yourself. When you speak, she can argue. She can twist your words. She can rewrite the story in her favor. But when you go silent, there's nothing to fight against. No counterattack. No closure. Just the raw truth. She lost someone real. Silence is not weakness. It's dignity. It's the unshakable statement that says, I was enough. You just couldn't see it. And the longer you hold that silence, the more it shifts the power. She may never admit it out loud, but she'll feel it. Because silence doesn't just end a conversation. It rewrites the whole relationship. Dynamic. 2. Emotion is her weapon. Detachment is your SHEL. Let's be brutally honest. When a woman pulls away, cheats, ghosts you, or leaves you without closure, she rarely does it cleanly. No, she leaves emotional landmines behind, A song. That was your song suddenly plays when you least expected. A memory you thought you buried ambushes you while you're just making coffee. A phrase she used to say echoes in your head. It's like a ghost you can't evict. That's not an accident. That's how emotional control works. See. Most men think that once she's gone, the battle is over. But in reality, she's still influencing your thoughts without even being in the room. Why? Because the real battlefield is your mind, and emotion is her weapon. If you react, if you lash out, beg for answers, or try to win her back, you're not taking control. You're handing it to her. Gift wrapped. Your pain becomes her. Proof that she still matters more than your peace. Your chase confirms her belief that she can step away without losing your attention. This is where detachment comes in. Detachment isn't about being cold, numb, or bitter. It's about survival. It's about saying, I will not bleed for someone who handed me the knife. It's reclaiming the parts of yourself you gave to someone who proved unworthy. It's taking your emotional energy, the very fuel she used to feed her sense of control, and investing. It's somewhere she can't reach. The Stoics had a phrase for this. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Every time you resist the urge to call, every time you delete that half-written text instead of sending it, every time you remind yourself that your peace matters more than her attention, you grow stronger. And here's the part she won't expect. When she sees you detached. When she realizes she no longer has the ability to trigger you, the power shifts, because in the game she was playing, emotion made you predictable. Detachment makes you a mystery, and mystery. That terrifies her. She'll wonder if you've moved on. She'll question whether you ever really needed her. She'll sense the change in your energy, and that change will unsettle her. Far more than any argument ever could, because deep down, what she truly wanted wasn't just love. It was control, and you just took it back without saying a word. If you've noticed how much easier it is for someone to push your buttons when they know exactly where they are, then you already understand. The next point. 3. The Scarcity Principle. Your value is in your ABC and CE human. Nature is painfully predictable. We rarely value what's abundant, but the second something becomes scarce, our brains start screaming, don't lose it. Right now, you're either too available or irreplaceable. There is no in between. If you're always texting back instantly, if you're always ready to meet up on her schedule, if you bend to her every whim without hesitation, you're not exciting. You're background noise, and background noise gets ignored. But the moment you step back, the moment you're no longer where she expects you to be, you trigger something primal in her, the fear of loss. Suddenly, she's not certain you'll be there when she decides to look for you. Suddenly, you're no longer a constant, and in her mind that scarcity transforms you from always there to rare and valuable. Think about it. Gold is valuable because it's rare. If it rained from the sky every day, no one would fight for it. The same applies to your time, energy, and attention. Attention is currency. The more you give, the cheaper it becomes. The less you offer, the more it's desired. When you stop rewarding bad behavior with your presence, when you pull your energy from people who took it for granted, you reset the balance of power. You stop being an option and start being the prize. And here's the kicker. Scarcity isn't about playing games. It's about recognizing your worth and having the courage to walk away when it's not respected, because your value was never in how much you chased. It was in how willing you were to be gone, for mystery destroys her scio and hurl here. Something most men never realize until they've been through it. The moment she can predict you, she owns you. She knows you'll call after work. She knows you'll say yes when she cancels and reschedules. She knows exactly which button to press to make you angry, jealous, or desperate, because you've shown her the blueprint of your emotions. Predictability is comfort in a healthy relationship. But in the wrong hands, predictability is control, and when she can control your reactions, you stop being a man she respects and start being a tool she uses. Attraction withers without its mystery. It's like reading the last chapter of a book before the first. The story loses its magic. So, you stop broadcasting your every thought. When you stop posting your pain. Online, when you stop giving her updates she never asked for. Something shifts, suddenly. She doesn't know what you're thinking. She doesn't know if you've moved on, or if you're happier without her. She doesn't know if you've replaced her or decided you don't need anyone at all. And that uncertainty, it gnaws at her. The human brain hates unanswered questions. It will invent its own answers when it can't get the truth. And most of the time, those invented answers are worse than reality. Mystery isn't manipulation. It's self-preservation. It's choosing to keep your plans private, your emotions guarded, and your healing sacred. It's deciding that not everyone, not even someone who once had your heart, deserves unrestricted access to your soul. The less she knows, the more she wonders. The more she wonders, the more she feels your absence. The more she feels your absence, the more she regrets thinking she could replace you. Here's the real power. When you realize you don't need to prove your worth to anyone, you become untouchable. Your mystery isn't about making her chase. It's about making sure you never again hand someone the keys to your emotional kingdom. And speaking of kingdoms, there's one thing even her pride can't protect against: the sting of rejection. 5. Her ego cannot handle a rigid CTO in most. Men think women leave because they've fallen out of love. That's only part of the truth. Many women leave expecting you to chase them. They anticipate the late-night calls, the tearful confessions, the desperate "I can't lose you" texts because it feeds their ego. Your heartbreak becomes their proof of value. Your desperation becomes their validation. It's not always conscious, but it's real. That's why rejection hits them harder than you think. When you don't chase, when you don't react, when you don't crumble into the role she expected you to play, you break the script, and breaking the script cuts deeper than any insult. Because your silence, your refusal to beg, sends a message she can't ignore. You are not worth losing myself over. Rejection, when it's rooted in self-respect, is not cruelty, it's clarity, it says. I won't play the emotional chess game where you make a move and I scramble to respond. It says, I refuse to be a character in the drama you're writing. And the moment she realizes she's lost the starring role in your life, she replays everything not to understand you, but to understand how she lost control. That's the moment she faces the truth. She overplayed her hand, and you didn't. Just walk away. You walked away without leaving the door. It's open behind you. But there's one resource she always counted on having, and when you take it away, it changes everything. 6. Energy is currency. Stop spending yours. Car, L-A-S-L-Y, every thought you give her, every memory you replay, every time you check her social media just to see, you're spending your energy, and energy is a currency you can't get back. Most men don't realize they're bankrupting themselves emotionally, mentally, and spiritually by feeding someone who's no longer feeding them. You burn yourself out, chasing closure that will never come. You keep the wound open by poking it every day. Here's the Stoic truth. Your energy is the fuel for your purpose, your health, your future. The more you waste on someone who's already gone, the less you have to invest in yourself. When you stop leaking energy into the void, you start building. You invest it into your growth, your work, your body, your peace. And here's the irony. When she notices you no longer orbit her, when she sees you building your own gravity, she'll feel the shift by the time she realizes it. You'll be too far gone, too focused, too powerful, too committed to yourself to even think about going back. The final truth is the hardest one to swallow, and the most important to live by. 7. You teach people how to treat you. By what you POR, time you ignore disrespect. Every time you forgive betrayal without seeing real change. Every time you accept less than you deserve. You teach people that you'll stay no matter what they do. It's not love, it's not Loyalty, it's self-betrayal dressed up as patience. People don't treat you based on what you deserve. They treat you based on what you allow. Respect isn't given out of pity. It's earned through boundaries. When you go silent, you walk away. You're not being cruel. You're setting a standard. You're saying, access to me comes with conditions. Respect is mandatory. Loyalty is non-negotiable. And if they can't meet that, they lose you quietly. Permanently, you don't. The world's endless softness. You owe yourself unshakable standards because every time you refuse to be loved poorly, you move closer to the life and the people you actually deserve.